was on 90.1 FM. What's interesting is I remember during this time, so when I do support driving, I pray about who, God, who and why. And he's so intentional because he was specific when he said, okay, these are the folks that I want you to talk to. These are the folks that I want you to bring on. And everyone has had something that has been tied. So this is phenomenal. So you get here, first of all, you talk about faith because you're talking about 3 little boys, 50, how many showings?
54 showings.
54 showings in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then you pick up and leave Maryland. And this is before Huntsville became the number 1 city to live in the U.S. So listen to me. So she moved from Maryland.
I overstand.
Yeah. Maryland to Huntsville. Now Hunts Vegas. But when you moved here, it was not Hunts Vegas. Not even a little bit. We still had trees and land and all that kind of stuff. That's about gone now, right?
Yeah.
So you move here and you have 3 little boys. Your whole family comes here and you don't have jobs.
We don't have jobs, but we knew God had called us.
What does that look like? Practically, like you don't have a job, but you know that God has called you.
Well, we know God is our provider. That's number 1.
Okay.
And we walk by faith and not by sight.
Come on.
But there's a practical side, too.
Yeah.
We had a good savings.
Good.
There's a practical side.
Okay.
Still have to walk in wisdom.
Yeah.
Right? Well, you walk by faith.
Yeah.
One of the benefits of being an educator is that teachers are needed everywhere.
Yeah.
Educators are needed everywhere. But prior to that, I had lost 17 students by gun and gang violence.
Oh.
And so I needed a reprieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so in that period of time, I thought I was going to take a year off.
Oh, of
but
course.
That year was just a few months because I missed students and I missed working with families.
Yeah.
But God provided and showed up even in the midst of that. So practically what that looked like was, Lord, we trust you. My husband, of course, got a job first, and we just continued our routine. But it was in that season of walking out on faith there was some healing that we didn't even know was needed.
Come on.
And if we stayed in the hustle and bustle of what we knew, we would have never gone through that healing process.
Wow.
And it's been amazing to see what God has done just by walking out on faith. And I learned a long time ago that faith is forsaking all, I trust him.
Forsaking all, I trust him. No matter what.
No matter what.
It doesn't matter what comes. It doesn't matter. I trust you. It doesn't matter what the circumstance is. And sometimes we can get caught up in the circumstance. Sometimes we can, because the circumstance, if we're being honest, is big. That's what we see. That's what's in front of us. But if we look a little bit further, he's much bigger than that circumstance. So you're here, you miss the kids, right? You want to be a part of it. That's funny because, you're like, I'm just going to take a break, but not so much, right? So you start as a teacher, or what does that look like?
So here, one day I was driving to Costco, got to feed three boys.
Of course.
Went to Costco, I see a community, and we start praying for this community.
Wow.
And someone mentioned to me Village of Promise, which is a local nonprofit here. And they said, hey, they're looking for an executive director. Have you heard of Village of Promise? I said, no, I've never heard of Village of Promise.
Somebody in the Costco parking lot?
This was another educator had mentioned it to me.
Did they know that
They knew I wasn't working at the time.
Okay, so they mentioned this. Okay.
But they had no idea that my family and I would pull into a parking lot in this community and pray for the community after we would leave church.
Wow.
And so I didn't know where the location was of Village of I knew nothing. And so I learned more about this opportunity, applied for the job, went for the interview, pulled into the parking lot, and I called Kent. I said, you're not going to believe this. He said, what? I said, the community we've been praying for, that's where the interview is. That's where Village of Promise is.
What?
And so I served there for a few years, and then the school system reached out to me in regards to the current role that I have. But when we walk out on faith, when we listen, first of all, when we surrender and we're obedient.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Even when it doesn't make logical sense.
Let's just sit there for a second. When you surrender and you are obedient, even when it doesn't make logical sense. Because oftentimes God will give you assignments. You go, now, Lord, that don't make no sense at all. And I mean, literally, you'll go, maybe you're not telling me to do that because that don't make any sense. And we'll sit on that for a second because it doesn't make sense to us. But for you and your family and your husband, it was like, It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense to us, but he has something for us there.
Yes. And it has been a beautiful story. So when we first got here, I'm going to give you an example.
Yeah.
Our oldest son was going to the 6th grade. In a few weeks, he'll graduate from high school. Wow. And in his college application essay, he tells our story of how we moved from Maryland to Huntsville and all that God has done in his life personally and in our family, and how it was a setup for his adulthood.
Come on.
And it's more than just me and my husband. Our children have seen God's work. And that's what we want as parents.
Yeah.
To see our children understand what God can do when we step out on faith. We're not just talking about it.
Yeah.
We're living it. And they get to experience it. And so it's been an amazing process. Was it always easy? I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
No, it was not. There were days sometimes like, did we really hear from God?
Was this right, Lord? Yeah. Yeah.
But looking back,
Yeah.
one of the best decisions we've ever made.
For your family
For
as
my
a whole.
family as a
And
whole.
I want to point out this part that I feel like, Holy Spirit is bringing to my attention as you're telling the story, is that because of your obedience, because of you and your husband's obedience, then your children, right, who are attached to you, get to reap the rewards. And I'm not talking about like a physical thing, right? I'm talking about something that's deeper, which is a spiritual understanding of who God truly is and how he takes you, from one point to the other. And I've always said your obedience, your yes is attached. Your obedience is attached to someone else's deliverance, someone else's understanding, someone else's journey. And so you and your husband saying, we're going to leave our jobs. Sounds like it was good jobs, right? Leave our jobs in the DMV is what they call it, okay? And move to Huntsville, Alabama. And we're going to allow God to take us to wherever he's going to take us. And that journey has now put you in a place where you've seen him work consistently. So you talk about being a parent or being a mom, and you talk about that part being a journey. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Just as much as you're comfortable with, what did that look like when you say you're, the miracles that you have, first of all, the 3 boys. I have 1 boy, and that is, listen, he is plenty for me, okay? And so God bless you for the 3. So what does that look like, as far as being able to say, man, God, like, these are the miracle babies.
Well, I have 3 children physically here on earth.
Yeah.
But the Lord allowed me to carry more children that didn't get to see the earth. But I carry them in my heart.
Absolutely.
And they're resting in his presence.
Yeah.
And so, but my pregnancies were extremely difficult.
Okay.
I spent most of my, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable or sick. I was very, very sick.
Okay.
In the hospital more than at home during most of the pregnancies.
Yeah.
And by God's grace, they were born healthy. And so I understand the value of life.
Yeah.
And when in your heart you desire something so much that sometimes our plans aren't his plans.
Yeah.
But I learned, and it gave me a desire to really understand the heart of God and how he sees us.
Yeah.
And that his timing isn't always our timing.
That's good.
And so right now, raising 3 boys, it can be something. They're busy. They're active.
They're hungry.
They're hungry all the time. I spend a lot of time at the grocery store and Costco.
You gotta have your Costco card.
I have to have a Costco card.
We need a membership somewhere to buy in bulk, okay?
Yes, absolutely. But it's a gift. They're a gift. And there's something about a boy's love for his mom.
Oh, honey, it ain't nothing like
It's
it.
nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's nothing like it. Man plans his ways, the Bible says, but the Lord orders his steps.
That's good.
And I had a plan to have a lot of children.
Yeah.
And I remember visiting Israel and Bethlehem, and I'm going, why did my parents name me Rachel? Because it says Rachel wept for her children because they are no more.
Wow.
And so when I was losing children as we were trying to build our family, I couldn't. Why did y'all name me Rachel?
That was not a good idea.
That was not
guys.
helpful.
But God had a different plan.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And professionally, he allows me to impact so many children,
Yeah.
more than I could ever bear as
Come
a
on.
person.
Yeah.
And so that's the beauty of being obedient.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
the impact is greater than what we can ever imagine. I get to physically raise 3 children, but I can impact so many more.
I'm so excited. Listen, I'm so enjoying my time. I love the idea that you get to impact so many more and that you understand what that looks like and that assignment, you know. And I appreciate you joining us and coming and partnering with us and sharing your story, sharing your journey. I'm sure there's more that we are going to talk about. And I cannot wait to hear more. But I want to give our opportunity, the listeners, an opportunity to give too. You know, I want them to listen to this story, to understand that God is the God that's going to do what he said he's going to do. You know, he told them, gave them assignment to pick up and move, and I'll take care of the rest. And they didn't, you know, really ask him doesn't sound like he asked a lot of questions. It was like, okay, well, we going, I guess. That's what he said we're going to do. We're going to do it. And he's been faithful, and he's not left your side. And so I want to make sure that that encourages you. If you're thinking about it, you've been pondering, you've been listening for the last couple days, and you're like, you know what, God, I'm almost there, then just pick that phone up and give us a call at 256-722-9990, where you can give at give.wjou.org.
Need you. I need you. 1, 2, or 3, maybe 100 times. She'd say 1,000 times that my insecurity was showing out over and over again. And the problem wasn't her, and the fact that I never trusted you. And I know that must have disgusted you, but I had to hurt till I learned. Oh no, more than ever. After what I've been through, I know that I need you. Oh yeah, more than ever, more than ever. Standing here in the rubble, yeah. I know that I'm in trouble. I need you more than ever. Never, ever do it again. But I did it again. And I'm standing right here in this place again, hoping that you would forgive my sin. Now, I don't really care about the bridges I had to burn. I'm just talking about the lessons I had to learn. One thing that's pretty clear to me: with you I have all things, without you I have nothing. More than ever, more than ever. After what I've been through, I know, I really know that I need you. That I need more than ever. Standing here in the rubble, I know that I'm in trouble. I need you more than ever. Just like the oceans need a shoreline, so they won't just flow away. Just like the moonlight needs a sunrise, so the night can turn to day. Just like the flowers need the shower, so the beauty won't decay. That's how I feel you, that's how I want you, that's how I need your love more than ever. After what I've been through, I really know that I need you. That's all I know is I need you more than ever. Standing here in the rubble, yeah. I know that I'm in trouble. I know I need you more than ever. Yeah. Ever. So more than ever, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I turn down, I need you. I need you. I do. I need you. I need you. I need need you. Every hour I wake up, I need you. I need you, I need you. I do, I need you. I need you, I need you. I need you, I need you, I need you. Oh, I need you. I need you, I need you, I need you. I need you, I need you, I need you. And I need you, Lord.
And you're listening to 90.1 FM WJOU in Huntsville. And I am Kyla Glover. So happy to have you here. We've been rocking it out today, and I'm excited that I haven't had to rock it out by myself because we're stronger together. I've had plenty of folk in here with me today, and I've had an amazing time. And so this time is no different. I am being joined by my sister and my friend here, Dr. Rachel Ballard. We're so happy to have her. And I have my boo thing. I call her my boo thing, my JoJo.
Yeah.
And she is here with me also. We are in the middle of our spring support drive, Stronger Together, here at 90.1 FM. And we are looking for you, right? We're talking about stories of faith and hope, and being on the other side, and what that looks like, and what it looks like to trust God and to believe him to do what he said that he's going to do. And so we are believing that with you and for you, as you are believing that with us and for us by making your donation and giving us a call at 256-722-9990. And you can do that online also. If you don't want to talk to anybody, that's okay. That's your business. Ain't nobody trying to make you talk to nobody if you don't want to, but you can do it online at give.wjou.org. So if you're just tuning in, like I mentioned before, I'm with my sister friend, Dr. Rachel Ballard, and she's been giving us such an amazing story of faith. Okay, like an amazing story of faith here, where her and her family kind of just, God said go, and that's what they did. And they ended up here, and they've been a blessing to the community ever since they've been here, and God's been showing them the why now. You know, I think sometimes we look for the why when the test is there, and the why doesn't come until we take the test and we're on the other side, and then God starts to reveal to us the why, you know. And so she's going to have to skedaddle out here soon, but before she leaves, right, I've been asking all of our guests that have come and sat with us as we've done the support drive, if you know, now that you're on the other side, right, that this has been a journey that everyone is still on. You're still on the journey, but you're on the other side of a lot of things that you were on a different side of before. And what would you say to that Rachel, to that woman, to that girl who was praying for the miracle, who was in a space where, God, I don't know, you know, I believe, but help my unbelief. You know, what would you say to her?
Well, I'm a type A personality, so I like to have my Excel spreadsheets. I like to see the numbers. It has to make sense to me. I need to know the details. What I would say to myself is put down the ink pen. Close that Chromebook, laptop, put down that iPhone, and trust me. Wow. Sometimes with a personality type like mine, I put myself in the place of the Lord. He is the provider. I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread.
That's right.
And take on the attitude of the little boy with the fish. And the bread. Allow the Lord to multiply what you have. And even when you feel like you don't have enough, he will take care of you. And when he takes care of you, don't forget to go back and say thank you.
Wow.
That's what I would tell myself looking back.
Oh, Dr. Rachel, that was so good. Listen, I thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your heart. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for saying yes and being obedient. And your story, what I know, has helped and encouraged so many who are in a space where they are uncertain and unsure. But they know that God is calling them to do something. They know that God is calling them to do greater, to do more. And they were at a crossroads. And now it's, God, I'm going to believe in you. I'm going to trust you. I think it's interesting that you said, say the pen thing again, that you had to put down the pen?
Put down the ink pen.
So what's funny is earlier, this is how God works, y'all. You hear it, listen to this. If you've been listening all day, you probably shouted on the inside like I did when she said that, because I about shouted, right? Because earlier, Gianna said, trust the one who holds the pen.
Wow.
When I asked her, what would you say to the Gianna before the other side? And she said, trust the one who holds the pen. I asked you, what would you say to the Rachel before the other side? And you said, put down the pen. What that's telling me is there's someone specifically who is trying to write their own story. You're trying to write your own narrative. You're trying to figure this thing out on your own. And God is so intentional that he had two guests who had nothing to do with one another to say the exact same thing in the opposite way. So I want you to know that he's being intentional with you. You're trying to write your own story. Trust the one who holds the pen. Put down the pen and trust the one who holds the pen. Man, I messed up for the rest of the day, y'all. Well, listen, Dr. Rachel and my sister Rachel, I love you so much. Thank you so much for your heart. Thank you again for your transparency. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come by and to have a little girl talk with me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course, it was remarkable. Well, again, you are in the middle of the spring support drive. We are stronger together, and I'm happy that you are a part of my together. You know, I'm blessed to have you there. We are stronger together. We are looking for you to give us a phone call at 256-722-9990. And you can also give at givewjou.org.
Stay with us for our spring support drive. We're looking forward to hearing from you at 256-722-9990 or give.wjou.org.
WJOU Huntsville, 90.1 FM, a broadcast service of Oakwood University.
There's a love so high
that you cannot get over.
That same love so wide.
It'll take forever just to get around it.
But love died somewhere behind that cross you wear.